Huh?
Just started recording now. Okay. Welcome, welcome. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Okay. 'Cause my setup's been changing in these last few days, and so it's good to know it's all functional. All right. So I'm first of all, I'm really curious. Have any of you been working with the high ticket course launch formula, applying it to your projects?
Nah, I kind of got stuck. I
You got
was gonna
stuck?
work on it, but these last few days, you know what happened in the last few days. So,
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
yeah, and I hadn't looked into it, and so I ended up not doing anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess there's this thing of that um like life has been kind of so busy lately that you know difficult to find time for yourself where you can work on that stuff, or at least with me it has been like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the little things that happen here and there, and then little disruption.
Yeah. And sometimes it's there are things that when everything seems to be going very easily, we manage to fit them in, and then under pressure, they're not. We don't have time put aside for them, and they just don't happen. I'm starting to experiment with scheduling my days in ways that I hadn't done before, recognizing that I've got so many projects on that instead of trying to get a bit of everything done each day, I'm seeing if I dedicate specific days of the week, mornings to specific projects, and experimenting with that, because otherwise I find myself just having really multitasking. I'm doing a little bit of a lot of things and not very, very focused. I recently was seeing a program about time management and about productivity, and it was saying that one of the places we lose most of our time is switching from one task to another. Our productivity falls dramatically when we're shifting our attention from one task to another, and we kind of have to adjust our rhythm, our whole frame of focus, and it slows down the process dramatically. Um, so maybe I'm going to see some differences in my productivity with this system if I can.
Yeah, I've actually done that before. Maybe what, a year and something ago, or 2 years ago, maybe.
Uh-huh.
I had, one day only for the garden, one day only for communications and connecting with people, emails and phone calls and stuff like that. One day for just fermented food, one day for what was it again? I don't know, like other projects. Um,
How did you
and
feel during that period?
say again?
How did you feel during that period? How did it feel working like that?
I think it was good. And I've been thinking about doing it again, like having also in regards to like stuff that I want to study, um, or well, you can call it projects, right? Whatever it is, if you're studying or not, but having that also organized in that way. And I've been getting closer to it. The way that I'm also applying Notion is also with that focus a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, having days of the week really established for this is going to happen on this day, this is on this day, and on that day, so that it doesn't lose you know, the momentum.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And also, what I want to say is, in terms of that thing in between tasks, um, this is where usually I lose the most time. Like what do I do until I work out, for example? Like I do, right? I have my morning routine and I pull it through. And on really good days, like there's only little space in between the different things that I do. And on bad days, I'm just procrastinating in between, going to
Yeah,
the kitchen and getting this and that. Like letting other people talk to me instead of just staying away from people or something.
yeah.
It's really fun.
You mean like on social media, that kind of just like chatting?
Either that or like I give my mom too much attention, or while I have my things established that I actually want to do.
Yeah.
You know. Sorry for the steering wheel. I'm on the curve, so.
Okay.
How
Okay.
about you, Amtira?
Yeah, I've got a morning routine as well. And then after that, I kind of like I'm still trying to work it out because like ever since with Five Tribes, I'm trying to work in a new sleeping pattern as well because like I find myself like getting the sniffles a bit easier than more than usual, and I've had this before, like the irregular sleep kind of like sinus and everything. Like I had it when I was a student. So like so like I'm trying to find a different groove, maybe to sleep later, but to wake up later. But also like then I feel like what's that, guilty about my practice. So it's a whole cyclic kind of thing that's going on. So also figuring out, also trying to find the groove that best fit everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, is there some what do you do to deal with low energy? Like if you've had little sleep, do you drink coffee or cacao, or do you like use any superfoods? What's your go-to thing for energy
I
and
have I have
alertness?
I have cacao.
Yeah.
I drink cacao, like I drink like green tea, like really like strong and thick green tea.
I do
um
coffee and black chocolate.
yeah,
99%.
yeah. So if it's really bad, then I'll have coffee because I know like I will do well with coffee, but I have sometimes have a bad crash from it. Um, yeah. Um, or I do breathing. Uh, I do breath of fire a lot if I need to sustain like longer periods of time. Like sometimes on the calls, if you see me like turn off my screen, is because I'm doing breath of fire.
They help to keep you awake at 3 in the
Yeah, it
morning or whatever
does.
it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm wondering what where you're at in the processes that we've talked about, and if there's anything relating to what we have talked about that you feel would be useful to go over. If there's anything that you'd like for us to review together of your, whether it's something you've got or something you're working on, your message around what you do. Is there anything that comes to mind that you'd love to bring to the table and get input on?
With me, it's the thing with finding the problem. Like
Finding a problem to
really,
solve.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
like something that people really need right now. Like that is then connected to. It's for me. It's so much easier to just move into something that is related to personal development, like the mind shape heart set idea. It's much easier for me to go in that direction than it would be going into permaculture or ecology or eco tribe or something in terms of, bringing solutions to problems. But so many people have weight problems. So many people have, like no little motivation, and have so many people have a negative self-talk, and they want to have more energy as well. And yeah, this for me, like, it would be so much easier to just come up with solutions for that than or solving problems in that sense, because these are like quicker things for people, I think, than it would be to solve problems related to eco tribe or gardening or this kind of stuff.
Yeah. What sort of time frames are you thinking of? Because it doesn't. Are you thinking in terms of what you can solve quickly as a like say a demonstration of what you can do and of to establish authority, to establish trust, by solving a relatively simple thing, so that people connect with you and are more likely to invest in a program with you? Is that the solution you're talking about? Or you're talking about the actual solution for your program, like the main program? Because obviously there's different time frames there, very different.
So yeah, I think the stuff that we can do with ourselves are much quicker to solve, I would say, than the things that we can do with ecology or with nature, working with nature.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah. I get that that's a challenge, but I think that you can find a solution. I think that you might be thinking in terms of, you're naturally thinking on a big scale of significant processes, implementing systems that have various elements in, but there might be something that, even though it's not that drawn out over time, has a significant impact. So for example, instead of thinking in terms of like how to go from 0 to having your own food supply, if you think of it instead in terms of how to, in fact, we talked about this example that springs to mind last time, I think, how to make sure you don't lose this year's tomato crop, for example. So it's not like how do you plant tomatoes, and how do you do all the process up to picking them and preserving them. It's like just a specific stage in the process. The process is long, but one specific stage might be significant enough for people to really value the program. There might be
I'm getting it. And I can give you an analogy to it real quick. Like, I don't know if you've seen the interview that I had with Sarah Savory. We've spoken about holistic management, and they have this thing called the 7 context checks. And one of them is, does this problem, or does this bring a solution for the weakest link in the supply chain, or in the right? So trying to solve these weakest links. I see. Yeah, no, I see. Yeah, and yeah, you had given that example the last time as well.
Yeah, and the weakest link is a super important thing to think about, of course, so that you don't have a system falling apart, and so that it's sustainable. But it might not be the most high value offer, Yeah. Sorry, I think I just have to open the door so that I can receive wood deliveries. Just a second.
I'll be back. I'm going to the restroom for a bit.
Say again?
I'm going to the restroom for a bit.
Okay, okay.
I can't hear.
I got you. I'll let Peter know. Irina, are you listening in?
I'm here.
How are you doing, girl?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good, a little bit tired. Had a rough night.
Yeah, what did you do?
I went to sleep early and couldn't sleep, and then I couldn't wake up. I think I might have had some dreams. I don't remember really. But yeah.
Mm. I can recommend a banana tea in case you have hard time sleeping.
How was Mexico?
Yeah, thank you. It's good and crazy at the same time. So I'm in this cute place, eating food and having my tea. I was sick for 3 days from air conditioning. Yeah, it's fun.
Nice. Good.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful
I'm
place
going
you are
back.
at.
I'm going. Sorry?
It's a beautiful place you are at.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, nature is beautiful, and then some parts are difficult, and then so it's like a balance.
Hey,
You said
Irina.
you were going back?
Hi, Peter. Yeah,
See you.
I'm going back this Saturday for a week, and then I'm coming back again to Mexico, and I'm gonna stay for 2 months, maybe 3 months. So
Are
I'm
you gonna pass
sorting.
by Lisbon?
No, unfortunately, I had such a horrible time with TAP that I decided not to fly with them ever again. So I booked a different ticket.
You know what TAP means?
No. What does it mean? What do you mean?
Nothing.
Like
It's
TAP
just
Take
Airline?
another plane.
Huh?
Take another plane.
Ah, yeah, I will write that on their, I should write that on their website. Yeah, totally. Yeah, so I'm gonna start documenting my journey.
Nice. Good, Peter. Just to let you know that Onsier went to the bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna mute because I know there's music. So
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So sorry for the interruption. I was receiving a wood delivery. I have some cold days here. So we were
We were talking about that thing with how to save your tomatoes, for example,
yeah,
this year or something.
yeah. And were you having an insight about how that could apply to you when you look at it from that idea of it being a specific stage in a longer process? And so you would direct the communication to people that are already, like in that example, people who are tomato farmers, not people who are wanting to start to be tomato farmers. And remember, one way to think of the whole, to conceive of the project, let's call it the program, is to think of what do you really love to solve. Is there a type of problem that you really enjoy solving? And of course, is there something that you're particularly good at solving? Is there something that you have experience with, also a specific type of person that you've helped solve that problem? you know, because you may have, for example, you may have had lots of, you may have solved a specific problem for lots of types of people and noticed that in that range of people, there's a type of them that you work well with, that they work best with you, that they most effectively apply what you are giving them. So there may be some group that through your experience you identify that's the kind of person I want to work with.
Yeah.
So remember it was in when was it? I can't remember now, but I don't think it was actually in a BizTribe call where it talked about Ikigai, that the concept of the convergence of these different
Your passion,
yeah,
your mission, or your
yeah,
knowledge.
and what you can earn money with, and so there's this convergence point, and you can include in that the your ideal client, in the sense of the people that you enjoy working with, or who are really responsive to what you offer. Does it give you any ideas?
Oh, not right now. I think I'm stuck on like something with composting or something. Yeah. Maybe I'm not stuck. Maybe, like I've had worms, and worm bins so often, and for so long already. I definitely know like how to not lose your worms. That could be one thing, There are many ways in which you can destroy your worm bin very quickly, especially at the beginning.
Are you talking about a home scale worm bin, or is it the same principles, the same challenge for a commercial scale, or commercial maybe isn't the right word, but let's say farm scale rather than house scale worm bin,
Yeah, home scale, yeah.
Because the reason I'm asking is because at a house scale, I think it's the kind of thing that would be an interesting. It might not be the best subject for a high ticket offer. A whole program, high ticket one about that. But it could be a significant offer in terms of like a bonus. Like here's a bonus that you get when you do this program. How do you how to make sure you don't lose all your worms? Or it could be one of those things. It's like you're scrolling and it's the thing that catches your attention. Oh, here's something that I'd like to get a solution for. And then through getting to know you, as you explain to them or demonstrate to them how they can solve that problem, you then address this bigger problem that is in that category of a high ticket program, so it's probably a bigger problem.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good one to have as a smaller program, possibly even a module in a bigger program, but probably not it probably wouldn't have the value of a high ticket program. And that's why I was asking about whether it would be a home scale or farm scale, because if it was farm scale and all the soil building depended on it, then it would be maybe, high ticket problem, let's say a high impact problem that you'd be solving. And, but a home scale worm bin is my impression at least is that it's more of a fun thing to do, to be able to compost your house residue. And it feels really good to do that. It's an amazing thing where you go from just throwing all this stuff out to seeing it transform into soil. It's like it's a beautiful experience, but it's like a hobby level That's from my experience. When you have a farm outside and you're actually producing food and you're using that soil and it's making a difference, I can see that it wouldn't necessarily be so much
But
just like a fun thing.
Yeah, now I'm realizing that, you know, the thing.
I'm losing you. Irina, I'm serious. Can you hear Carsten? Is it just me?
That I was thinking, like I will only be. You guys not hearing me?
Yeah, we lost you. I think you might be back, but I lost what you were saying just now.
So what I was saying, can you hear me now? Right?
Yeah, it seems to be fine now.
What I was saying is that I was thinking, like I won't be able to help anybody who is already doing the farm scale thing, right? I can only help those who want to get into the farm scale thing. Then it would make sense, you know, the whole idea of, you know, having a high ticket course with that.
Why is that? How did you reach that conclusion? Why would you not be able to help people who are already doing the farm scale thing?
Because if they're already doing it, they're already doing it. Like once you have it going, like.
I get the logic. Isn't there anything that people commonly struggle with once they've established their larger scale project? Like people might often think it's easier than it really is, or they might expand from one type of crop to another type of crop, and then suddenly that second crop is just, they don't know how to do it, you know, and they're completely failing at it. Or, you know, there might be some challenge that you get in the third year of growing some type of tree that you don't get when you begin the process. You know, there might be things that even for people who are on that bigger scale, challenges that they still have. It doesn't mean that they're good at it. The fact that they've already taken that bigger step.
No, man. It feels too simple for me at least.
Feels too simple. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Irina, what do you want to say?
Say again?
Yeah. Can I just chip in a little bit here?
Sure.
I feel like I can comprehend what Carsten is trying to say. Like when you learn it, then it's like everybody knows the same system, right? And everybody's just kind of following it. Is that what it is? But then I feel like if you mix it with your own journey of what you're doing, it might be interesting, because as Peter is saying, I think everybody's gonna still have their own journeys through the season, and that's where you might offer like additional niches where it's saying like, you know, I'm doing it this way or something like that, or like, I don't know, when you bring your personal touch to it, or where you document how you're dealing with issues or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that idea of personalizing it, even when it's even
like
when
keeping the social media kind of going, and that will be like your promotion in a way, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that adding the personal touch is actually, it's fundamental at some level, you know, because otherwise you're just in a category, and when you're just in a category along with other people, you're also competing for price with everyone else in the same category. If you're doing something that people classify as just being one more on a list of things that people do the same, and so once you are doing something that is seen as unique, you're out of that game of competing with other people for attention. Let's say, you know, and so the personalization is super important.
I think Carsten can come in with a sense of humor and permaculture, you know, and that will be like a niche that not everybody has.
Nice. There was something that came to mind also. For example, Carsten, you've got this experience now working with, is it called small scale intensive? The system that Henrik uses and that you've been working with him on.
No, what he's doing is more like bio-intensive or something like that.
Bio-intensive, okay.
Yeah.
But I remember when, I think it was with Valju that I spoke about it. I can't remember if I talked with Henrik at the time, but it was like they were having this great realization that permaculture as they knew it was flawed compared with this system. If you wanted to really produce significant amounts, this was a huge upgrade. This was how they were feeling about it at the time. And so maybe people that have already established a permaculture project, right? They're not at the beginning of it. They've been doing it. They have experience with it. And maybe for that reason, they actually feel comfortable with the idea of doing a bio-intensive project. You know, it's like it's not this huge leap because they've already been working with a farm. They've been doing permaculture principles, and then they may be wanting to produce more. You know, and now is a time where that could be a significant choice also. People are like, okay, I'm happy on my farm, producing for my family, producing for, you know, volunteers that come and help out. But suddenly we're at a time where people are really talking about food shortages, you know, and stepping up on food production is it's a hot topic. So it makes sense that there would be people thinking in terms of how do I optimize the use of my land to produce more food more efficiently without having to necessarily, you know, invest in a lot of machines or a lot more people, or you know, changing from an organic system to a sort of, you know, more conventional commercial system. So they're still working with principles that they feel are in alignment with their ethics. So that could be a really significant transition that you have the perfect knowledge for, I would say. And you could even document what you're doing right now to help to make the program, you know, to illustrate the program, let's say. You know, you've got the what's the word, the case study, right, you know, right there, alive and available to base the work on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually, you know, honestly, I'm not really interested in the system that Henrik has.
Yeah, and is that because of your personal food choices?
I think it's a lot of work, man. I think
Okay.
it, like, the work that I've been having has been like backbreaking, and I get that, you know, like, you want to be a farmer and stuff like that, but goodness, like working with animals, I think is in that sense is more my thing,
Right.
because they do the work. They do the work, and it's their natural behavior, just like
Yeah.
that already.
Yeah. You did this interview recently with Alan Savory's daughter. I can't remember her name. What's
Sarah.
Sarah?
Yeah.
Sarah Savory. If it's not an area, if the animal farming, let's call it, is not an area that you have as much experience with, because I mean, I know you've got chickens, you've got ducks,
Yeah.
but and so that would be something that you could work with. But if you're talking about also like herds of larger animals, you could co-create a program on that subject, which I know you're passionate about, and which would be a beautiful course to have within the eco-tribes context as well, because, you know, it's really I remember seeing Alan Savory's presentation on, how we can change the whole global warming scenario or the climate change scenario based on this shift in agriculture. It brings together a lot of different things. So I just wanted to add that, that even in an area that you don't have the same degree of personal experience, you can still create a program by teaming up with somebody who does. And you've just, so that just popped to mind, the fact that you're connected already with Sarah Savory. So it might need, just rather than necessarily coming to a decision now, it might just be ways to come unstuck, what we've talked about, ways to come unstuck and not feel that it's impossible to find an adequate solution. I think there are lots of possibilities, but you have to find something ideally that you're going to feel passionate about. So I think it's good that you have that clarity. Like, no, I have the experience. Yes, I have the case study for the biointensive, but I'm not passionate about it. It's not where I would want to put my energy. So it's good that you have that clarity.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there anything you want to explore further, or I'll see what Omsira and Irina have got happening.
Not for now, but if something comes up for me, you can definitely, the other thing would just be food forests. I'm really passionate about food forests. Really what I'm passionate about, I would say, is what I also presented on the convergence, which is agro-silvopasture, having kind of food forest systems with animals underneath, and the direct interaction between these, like the planting of trees and the planting of ecosystems, and helping wildlife out with regeneration or through regeneration, but then having the animals underneath flowing through the system, basically.
Okay. I love that. That's something I think I would even say it's magical to me what it evokes, the sense of collaboration with nature and the transformation that can be seen through that type of collaboration. I love the idea. Yeah. So just coming back to that challenge of the scale of it, the time scale. So again, if we're using this as an example, if you can see a specific, what's the word? A specific, I can't think of the word. When you've got a long journey, but you have markers on the way. You have
phases of implementation.
Yes, that's one way to look at it. I'm thinking of moments where, for example, the moment where you go from planning stage to starting to plant, or you go from the planting stage to having your first fruit, or you have stages of implementation potentially, or of your experience in the process. So that there are significant steps along the way. And you can, for example, instead of your program being a promise of like, let's go in the next 90 days to having a food forest, which is obviously, that's not possible. Like, but you can say, from this stage to this stage in your process, and even going from the stage of wanting to have a food forest to getting it going, to having the seeds in the ground, or having the ground prepared, or having your 5-year plan clear, right? Because that's already a significant thing, even if you're not accompanying their process of planting, of animal husbandry, but helping them get a 5-year plan, how it's going to happen. So that so it's no longer just this thing that they would love to do, but they like, okay, now I'm empowered to do it. I know what I need to do now. I know what I'll need to do next month. I'll know what I need to do 6 months from now and next year. That's a high value offer.
Yeah, sorry, I'm here.
Okay.
I was taking care of the chicken still. Yeah, so yeah, so basically having taking little stages out of the whole thing, of the process, right? And
Yeah.
focusing on them.
Either specific stages, or even without the implementation phase, just having the overview, like a 5-year plan of establishing your food forest.
Yeah. Well, you don't need to focus more on me right now. Like I'm still processing.
Yeah. Let's give you time to digest and to see where that lands. I think that it can be helpful, even though your area might be radically different from what Omsira and Irina are thinking about. It might just the way of reframing things and thinking of how do you present the value, how do you identify among the many things that you can do, how do you zoom in on something that's going to be something you can communicate that it's valuable. I think that the principles may be helpful to others as well. But yeah, let's see what Omsira and Irina have happening and that they might want support with. You want to share anything, Omsira, Irina?
Yeah, for me, like I'm also reassessing like what my offering can be, because so far, like how I've been working with people has always been one-on-one and customizing the solutions for them, whether is it mentoring or coaching. And even when the first time I mentioned to you, like finding sacred spaces at home, I was really, reviewing that and see whether is that something that people really want, and like I was putting out feelers for it, but not really getting a response, like not even a lukewarm. So it was like really like, okay, maybe this is just in my head. So like the past week, the past 2 weeks, I've been trying to nail in something, but I have not been able to get feedback from it on whether it is something that people really want.
Can I give you a quick bit of feedback already on what you're saying? Because if you're framing things in terms of what problem you're solving, then in this case, how I see that would be, for example, there are a lot of people that know they need to meditate. They really want to establish a meditation practice. And one of the things that is very often proposed to help establish a meditation practice is to have a particular space that you do it in. To not just try to fit it in randomly in your day, but to have a specific place that you do it. And so rather than the offer being presented as, I'm going to help you create a sacred space in your home, it's I'm going to help you achieve this result, which is, for example, you're going to establish a regular meditation practice. Finally, you're going to be able to sustain that practice. And why? Because you've created this condition that is there's this space that they're just going to want to sit in every day, and they're going to kind of drop into meditation as they sit there and just feel the appreciation of and the beauty of the space. So it's going to help to sustain both the commitment and facilitate the experience of relaxing, of moving into meditation. So there's a different framing of it that might be more meaningful in terms of what you're offering is the way they get to an experience, so they may not have thought that they need a sacred space, and yet it might be the solution to what they're needing, what they're looking for, but they may not realize that yet, which might be why they're not responding to the offer.
Understand what you're saying, but it's also like um, being preemptive a little bit, and things are getting really real in terms of what people are negotiating as well, and also looking forward, like more forward thinking in terms of preparing something perhaps for the summit.
Uh-huh.
And having or knowing that the audience or the potential audience will be from the summit, right? So like, of course, there are a ton of ideas in my head. But I'm really happy that you mentioned meditation, because meditation is actually one of the main things that I'm looking at, like in specifics of clearing or old belief systems, old paradigms, kind of thing, like how, like, I totally foresee when people are slowly awakening, and realize the kind of belief systems that they have, from the programming that they have gone through, and realizing that they are in this mud hole, and they're trying to get out of it, right? Like how can I, articulate that situation and work towards, deconstructing, helping them to deconstruct, what they have constructed in themselves, and try to get back to zero. So in a way, like, this is how I'm also approaching it. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And are you referring to this in relation to a meditation program? Not in the context of a sacred space, but in relation to like a shift of direction from creating sacred spaces to a meditation program. Yeah.
Because I do I do recognize, the getting into a meditation program.
You could combine the two things potentially.
I know, I understand.
Yeah.
Like you just gave me that idea as well. And it's also like negotiating safe spaces for meditation, because we like, as things are hyping up and getting intense, especially in the space like Singapore, the density, like how can we, have more clarity and really have a practice that is something that you want to do and you want to work on, and yeah.
I think there's a lot of potential there. Even I was giving you the example just now of somebody who's been really wanting to meditate, and you provide the solution so they get there. In this case, normally I would say meditation isn't necessarily like, be able to meditate, or to be able to meditate is not necessarily, in terms of wording, like here's a meditation program, it's not necessarily what people would normally consider a high ticket program. And the reason that it could be for people that have been struggling with it is because they've been struggling with it. It's something they've been valuing enough to be trying. And so the fact that frustration is built up, they're not just with an intention of starting to meditate and not realizing that they might have challenges doing it. They've experienced challenges. And so solving that, they recognize that if you got a solution for that, it's of high value to them. And so it might sound kind of contradictory for me to say, a meditation program may not be necessarily a high value program. It can be for the right person, but I presented as, let's say, in terms of how it's presented, if it's presented just sort of in a generic sense, it's not necessarily going to be, because one way to think of things is always, how does it stand out from what's available, and even if people don't fully consciously think this, the fact is that they could go to YouTube and just put a playlist of guided meditations, and they've got a meditation program, and it may be a crappy meditation program, but something in the back of their mind tells them that a meditation program is already available to them. It's not something they need to pay a high ticket value to get. And so that's why presenting it as a solution to a specific problem where they know that they're struggling and they know it's important to get through that. It's a different framing, and it's not just a matter of framing, it's also a matter of maybe shaping the meditation program in a way that really addresses a particular problem. That would take it into a different category, let's say, from the category of meditation program into solving a really important problem, and meditation being the method that they use. Yeah, because I mean, I keep coming back to certain principles because my point of reference is the Fletcher method, and the basis for it is that you're trying to achieve not just create a program that has participants, that has some income, but something that you can actually really establish a really solid foundation for a significant income from that program. And so one of the criteria is that you can reach that audience in a predictable way. Like you can reach them on Facebook or on Google or on YouTube, and you know how to do that because you know who your audience is, you know how to reach them. And there was something else I was going to add to that. Yeah, when you're doing paid ads, when the value of your offer, the price of your offer, is above a certain threshold, then you can safely pay for ads, because even if you have, like, the way he figures it out actually is that even if you have 1% only of people that click on your ad becoming your customer, even if it's 1% only, it's going to be profitable when it's a high ticket program. If you're selling a mid ticket, low ticket program, it's much more difficult to make ads work, to scale them up, to make it sustainable, to invest in ads. And so that's one of the criteria. That's why I'm talking about a high ticket program so much, because it may or may not be what you already had in mind to do, but it's a way to it's a way that the system proposes to, like, get a really solid business foundation. And from there, when you want to offer things to other people that are not necessarily, you may not only want to serve people in a high ticket framework. You may want to reach people with low ticket offers and membership program, all sorts of other things, so that you can reach all sorts of people. But his proposal is you do that after you establish that solid high ticket program. Then you can expand from there. You can diversify from that foundation.
Do you have like any parameters of what makes a high ticket program? Like it's above a 4-digit, or...
Yeah, he tends to think of it as $2,000, $3,000 and above is what he refers to as high ticket. And that's not, so it's not a universal term. Like other marketers, I've heard other marketers say from 5,000 up is high ticket, from 10,000 up is high ticket. So, but in this case, in terms of the formula for making the ads work, he's talking about $2,000 up.
Understand. Thank you. I'll look into it.
Wow, thank you guys. I'm also thinking about my meditation course. And so this was very good to hear your conversation with Amsira.
Great.
And yeah, I can't imagine pricing the course for 2,000.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, I don't know, some kind of 1-year program or something that you need to do, or...
Okay, so let me just address that quickly, because we can think of the value meaning like I'm going to have to give them a lot of my time to compensate for the fact that they're paying me like $2,000, right? But actually, that's a that's a let's say it's a mode of thinking that it's not a correct assumption. What they want is a really important problem solved. They don't want to spend a year on it if they can do it in 3 months. They don't want to spend a year on it if they can achieve that solution in 1 month. If it's an important problem, they're willing to spend that 2,000 to have it solved quickly, not slowly. It's the opposite that we might think, because we're thinking in terms of, well, I'm going to need to give them a year of my time to compensate, right? But it's they're not paying for your time. They're paying for their solution. They're paying for their problem to be solved.
Very interesting. Yes, thank you. That is a different way to look at it, for sure, for sure, for sure. Mm.
Yeah. You work with yoga therapy, right? And so you can potentially bring in the theme of meditation to help with high blood pressure, meditation to help with you know, something along those lines, where it's not just like a hobby, you know, that you're helping them with, this interest that you're helping them move into meditation, like they've been interested in meditation, they thought it'd be good. No, it's like they've got a real problem that they need to solve. And with your skill in both meditation and yoga therapy, you can understand how meditation is going to be have a significant impact on their health. And so you know, if they understand that, then it's a different context than offering a meditation program.
Yes, thank you, Peter. I feel like for me, there's different projects. Let's say I do yoga therapy based on Chinese traditional medicine, and that is a separate program for me to meditation course.
Sure.
And I got the idea for a meditation course specifically for the office people, because I was one of them, for those who are sitting, you know, for a long time, and those who are getting frustrated, angry, and having anxiety, panic attacks, and high blood pressure and all that from sitting in the office. And yeah, I was going to pre-record a course of like 10 modules of, you know, breath work, meditation, guided meditation, silent meditation, 5-minute kind of things, you know, to switch the brain, switch the thinking, get out of like negative state and stuff like that. You know, something that they can take to work with them, and just during lunchtime or during their break they can listen to, and kind of it would help to switch, you know, being in the negative cycle or something like that. And of course, breathing and meditation, that would help in the long term. So that's one of my projects that I haven't even started. Like I kind of started and then I stopped and I need to do it again. And then I'm doing yoga therapy, which I've started now in Luxembourg in person. And I was charging almost 1,000 for it per person. And I only had one. And it took me 5 weeks to do 5 elements and meeting 3 times a week. And it still takes time to, you know, for people who I can see have already physically, like it's impacting their health physically, like the, you know, whatever the issues that they have. And yeah, so for yoga therapy, I can imagine it would work. But then the meditation course that I want to record, yeah, I cannot, like for me, that's not going to be like a high ticket, I guess, offer. Because I can't imagine to record a meditation course, even if it's all different types of meditations for all different types of things. And I cannot imagine charging 2,000 for that. Like,
Yeah. It's like I was saying to Amsira, it's
different types of
if
offers.
it's not framed as the solution to a pressing, urgent, major problem, it's a generic thing, you know. and it's something that they might assume they can get by doing a search on Google, search on YouTube, going to a forum, and buying a CD set or something, you know. So to stand out from what exists already, one way to do it is to say, this is to solve this particular problem for this type of person, you know, to go from here to here. For this type of person who's experiencing this problem, to go from this experience to this experience, and that makes it so much more specific than the sort of generic things that you might learn in a just by listening to a guided meditation on that you look up on YouTube. That it takes on a different meaning, you know, and there was something else. You talked about people in the office having both high blood pressure and panic attacks. I mean, that's a pressing thing. I mean, if people are at a point of distress where they're experiencing panic attacks, and you can help with that, that's a high ticket offer.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced because it's like it's a pre-recorded course, so it's still a little bit generic. So I still it's like you find your niche and you find your audience, but it's still a pre-recorded kind of passive income.
You know, you could have
that I wouldn't put online. So
but you could have two versions of that. You could have a version that is 100% pre-recorded, right? And it's not a high ticket offer. It's mid ticket, low ticket. And you could have a high ticket offer that combines the pre-recorded course with personalized guidance and support during the 60, 90, whatever it is, days of the program. And in that context, you could offer to really help them get from A to B rather than just leave them on their own trying to be systematic and to stick to the course, you know. And what I've often heard people talk about is also the value of community, like being in a live program that has a journey through it with a community can really add to the impact, add to sticking to the program. Because I can't remember what the percentage is. It's something like 80 or 90 something % of people, they'll buy a book or an info product, an online program, and they don't complete it. And I've experienced that myself countless times. I know how true that is, but apparently it's the majority. It's like something like 90% of people, that's their experience. So if you can help them get through the process, that's the high ticket value there. It's not just that they purchase a program, that they have access to it, but that they get through it. They get the benefit because they're doing it. So yeah,
investing
your time and energy.
Especially there's always.
I was just going to say, investing your time and energy in creating the program can give you that passive income. But that, like you said, it might not necessarily, that passive income through a fully pre-recorded course may not be the high value version of it, but you can use it in combination with live coaching, group coaching, something along those lines.
Yeah, and I just feel like everybody now has the Facebook groups, you know, that go along with anything that you buy. There's always a Facebook community. And it is helpful. It is nice to, like, I am also a client in some of those things, and yeah, it's nice to have a community where you can chat about it, your progress, or you have a buddy that keeps you on track, or something like that, and it helps you to get through stuff. Yeah, and yeah, as you say, for me, like, yeah, high ticket offer would be if I personally get into it, like if I personally help and guide, and it's like more on like personalized way. So I'm present, live kind of stuff. Yeah,
but it doesn't mean it has to involve a lot of your time, but that you are available to answer questions once a week, something like that. as an example, you know, it makes the difference between just them being on their own with it and having to figure it out, or knowing that they do have the opportunity to have questions answered. Even in a group context, right? Don't think of it as suddenly having to give like an hour of your time to lots of different clients, and suddenly it's far from passive income because you're just fully booked answering lots of different questions. If it's in the context of group Q&A, or you even give like a summary of each of the steps in the program, even though it's pre-recorded, you give a little summary and a Q&A on it, so that it helps them get into the process. I'm gonna need to jump off the call to give a class, and I think you participated in the first of this series of classes before, Irina. If you want to jump in, you're welcome. It's the one of the Tantra Foundation's programs, and beautiful to be with you all. And again, if there are things that come up and that you want to share with me, with the group, feel free to use the BizTribe Telegram group for sharing and supporting each other.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank
Really
you.
good. Yeah, I think you got this. You're doing this really well. Like it's amazing how like you're holding the space and having answers for everything.
Thanks, brother. I'm enjoying it, and I'm
It's your high ticket course.
it feels also important to get some practice before. This is something I was going to say also to Irina a moment ago, you know, in relation to like doing the pre-recorded thing. There's a lot of time that can go into that, and potentially investment, like if you're working with a team to record, edit, all of that. So it can be significant to first of all do a pilot program, do a live program, maybe do it 2 or 3 times live, even if it's a shortened version. But then feeling much more confident, like now I know really what questions come up. I know what struggles people have, and I'm going to include that in the program. Because otherwise you can do a lot of time and money investment to create the program. And then when people go through it, you realize, oh, I've got to add this, and then this isn't clear. And then you end up kind of wanting to do the whole thing again. And it might be difficult to adjust once it's a formatted program, you know? Yeah. And one thing I've realized from doing this is how difficult it is for people to go through the 14-day high ticket course launch formula. It's a free resource, but it's very different to take people through it rather than to say, here it is, it's available, do it. Because people will tend to not find time to do it, or they'll get stuck in some part of the process, or they'll interpret some of it slightly differently and won't get the best result out of it, even though it's, you know, I think it's well presented. But it shows how a high ticket offer can be this complementary thing, even to a really well-designed pre-recorded program. Yeah. All right. Big hug to you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Love you.
Thank you too. Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Does anyone know if the Freedom Tribe is on later on?
I was gonna ask you. What's
It's on tonight, no?
I don't know. I'm gonna
in an hour.
Okay, because I messaged.
Last week she said.
I'm gonna have to.
Last week she said it's gonna be this week. Okay, thank you, Peter.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye, Peter. Love you.
Bye bye. Love you too, brothers and sister.